Thank you, Gigi. Let's make sure we beat the Irish tonight. At this point, I'd like to invite my friend and esteemed colleague and Engineer of the Year, Dr. Julio Navarro, for Senior Technical Fellow at the Boeing Company. Please welcome him to the stage.
So tonight I'm gonna party like it's 1999. I was dreaming when I wrote this, so sue me if I go too fast.
Well, life is just a party and parties.
Well, good thing they didn't make me dance, right? Let me see. Well, thanks to all of you. You guys already know me. I wasn't sure exactly how to best show you these things, so they'll go through and put up a couple of things up there. If you go back one to the beginning, first page. There you go. Yeah. So that's my life, and one of the things. That's it right there. And the nice thing about that is each one of us has a story to tell, right? And what I want you to do is to put the things that are important to you, and those are the things that are important to me. And as you can see, HENAC has been a big part of that, along with Texas A&M. Oh, come on. We lost all the Aggies from last night. Okay. So from, go back one. I guess I need to learn how to do this, huh? Let me do this. There. Okay. All right, so you can see I became a U.S. citizen in 1985. That was a big deal. And you know what that allowed me to do is to work for some of our aerospace companies that we have this year. So that was a very important part. It was a gate that without it I would not be able to, to proceed forward. So if you also look at that side, I also have it in here. So the other part that's important there is I met my lovely wife at Texas A&M University. She's also a graduate, 1987. Yeah, long time ago. And also, I started a very small company. It was Epsilon Lambda in Chicago, okay? And I learned a lot of things there. So small, not like our big companies like Northrop and Lockheed and Boeing. So small that we actually talked to the customer, figured out what he wanted, and then went and designed it. We had one machinist, so then we had to make the drawings, give it to the machinist who would give us back the part. We would then go and make some printed wiring boards, and then we had to assemble it ourselves. So it's kind of like a small budget operation, right? But what that taught me is from start to finish, you could do the job, right? And that prepared me for go to Boeing or a large corporation where you do one piece of the work, and you have a big group of people that are actually better than you, people that are better than you in thermal or chemistry or chemical. Somebody who, so I'm an electrical engineer and did our RF. Somebody else is taking care of the packaging. So that's the difference between a small and a large company. Those experiences are all important for you to have in order to be valuable not only to your family and your company, but also to all of us. So let's see, I'm gonna go to the next slide, and let's see if that works. Okay. So each of you are somewhere in here, right? Some of you are seniors, some of you are ready to work, some of you are already working. This was me early in my career. I could have gone to U of H, Cougars. All right. I could have gone to Texas. I was a big Earl Campbell fan, and only the old people are going to remember Earl Campbell, but to the new people don't even remember that. So I was a big Earl Campbell fan, but I went to Texas A&M. It was a great place to go, and if you go to the next slide, you'll see that, oops, one more, the other way. Okay, Did I miss one? No. Okay, so yeah, so if you go there, I could have picked electrical, mechanical, or computer science. I didn't know what to pick. There was 2 professors in there who sold electrical engineering to me, and they said it was the best thing ever. And I didn't know anything, so I believed them. And like 5 years later, I got a degree. So those are the guys that sold it to me. And then when I was in there, the other thing that happened to when I was in school is that I played soccer. I thought I was really good, actually. I thought I was much larger than I actually was. But one of the things I realized when I was playing is that wasn't going to get me to where I thought I would be, and that I better get my degree because, soccer wasn't going to pay the bills. And so one of the things that happened is I met a lady named Joy Gardner for General Dynamics in Fort Worth. Now it's Lockheed Martin, Fort Worth Division. And there I actually grew up in many different areas, from avionics to software to system design, and I found antennas, okay? I didn't know at the time that would be what I'm doing today. But it's very important for each of you, and I heard it say tonight that you need to try things out, you need to go do things. I did it through that aspect, through co-oping, okay? Next slide, it's, I don't know if you can see there, yeah. So this one is my graduate career. Now, General Dynamics at that time had like 300 co-op students, and they picked 4 of us, and I was fortunate enough to be one of those guys that could get a graduate co-op degree. So I did 3 more co-op terms. This time I already knew I liked antennas, so I stayed there 2 more times, and then I ended up at RCS Research, Radar Cross-Section Research. That was my last one. The reason I'm telling you this is not to highlight my life, but only to show you the diversity of things that you might want to learn yourself in order for you to get a taste, more like a buffet. You go to a buffet, you really don't know what you want to eat, and you test everything out, and then you find one that you really like, and then you do that one really well, right? Life has been like that for me. And so at the end of this, actually my mom, unfortunately my mom's not here, she passed away in 2006, but my mom used to say, when are you going to get out of school? Because it seemed like I was there forever. Yeah, she kept going to graduations, I got my bachelor's, my master's, and then finally my PhD, and then she was going like, how many of these am I going to go to? And it was really, really nice for her to see all of the things that we got to see. The good thing about doing so many things is that if it is something that you're good at, you just naturally excel at it, right? So I had Professor Kai Chang from Texas A&M University and Dr. Karen Watson at Texas A&M University. They said, hey, you're really good at that antenna stuff. You want to stay for a PhD? And I had never thought about a PhD. Actually, I didn't like most PhDs that I knew at that time. So I said, I'm not going to do that. But they convinced me that was a good thing. And so in there, you can kind of see, instead of staying for a full-time job, which my mom liked the idea of, I stayed with the National Science Foundation Fellowship. It was for 2 years. And, and I learned that I could do that well. And it's a credit to Kai Chang, and it's a credit to Dr. Watson. They were very helpful to me. And also to NASA Lewis, now it's NASA Glenn, and Felix Miranda, which you guys know. He evaluated some and basically funded me for the last 2 years of my PhD. So I always put Felix in there. The next, is that right? Yeah, that one. The next slide. So the other thing is you also have to have a little bit of luck, okay? So on the next slide here, let me make sure I got it right. Yeah, there you go. On the next slide, my advisor, as my PhD was finishing, my advisor, he said, hey, are you interested in writing a book? And And I said, why? Why am I going to write a book? It was really, he was the title. And I was going to be the guy who actually did the work. So it was his name, and it was my name kind of like attached on the side. So I was the graduate student. And I said, sure, So thanks to Maggie, actually, she convinced me that was a good thing to do. And I don't think I slept for like a whole year. But I did all the research, and I put that book out, and then I finally graduated and finally made some real money, right, when I went to work. And that book has actually been a real credit. Don't ever write a book for money, right? Don't ever write a book for money. I think if you take all of the hours spent on that book, it'd be like less than minimum wage, a lot less than minimum wage. So you have to do it as a labor of love, kind of, okay? It's very important that you really like what you write. And also, it's not like a bestseller. It's not going to be, let's see, it's active antennas and spatial power combining. How many of you are interested in that, So it's not like a real bestseller. And anyway, but it was important in my career. So the last thing is finding a home. And I found that at Boeing. The Boeing Company has been excellent to me. And much different than a small company, much larger team, a lot more support. You also have to learn to work with the company. It's like what I could do at a small company on a drop of a hat. I could change the design from one day to the next. I can't do that at Boeing. And there's a certain cadence that you have to work with. Any of these large companies will be that way. But I got there, and I have been in the same building for the past 20 years, same group, but always with more responsibility. Very fortunate, as Dr. Toops mentioned earlier yesterday, that I was able to do some things. And again, I think it's fortunate. I was in the right place at the right time where I was able to advance technology. I like the stuff. These are the kinds of things that I love to do. I'd say I'd do it for free, but, you also got to live, right? So the last thing I would tell you, and I will go back to this, so if you go back to the very first slide, figure out a way to tell your story. Sample life. Do many things. Do a lot of things. Find the one that you like, and then do it to the best of your ability. I'm fortunate to have my son and daughter. Hopefully you guys met them because they're already flown back. They're back at school. And if you're able to do that, then you can say it's been a good life and it's been well done. And what more can we expect, right? So thank you very much. So